feel like this is like Entrepreneurs Anonymous. Like, there's a business idea right there for you. So I'm Jacob, I'm an entrepreneur.
Hi, Jacob.
Among other things. I go by many names, my wife has many names for me. So honored and humbled to be on this stage this morning, really, truly. Everybody here has an amazing story. On my way down this morning, I'm normally not getting up at 5 in the morning, so bear with me if my words start to slur a little bit. I usually stay up till 2 in the morning telling the whole world about Dude Eating a Truck on social media, so forgive me. But as I was driving down this morning, cheers, I started to think about me, and I started thinking about how there's just one of me, and there's just one of you, which is kind of, all right, goes without saying. It's pretty obvious, right? But it started to actually blow my mind as I started thinking about there's only one of you in the world. And there's only one of you that'll ever be in this world. And so, I'm trying to get pretty deep and philosophical with you this morning. I know it's early. But my goal this morning, my desire this morning, not only to talk about Dude is we get so much information. Information's constantly coming at us, 24/7. So I don't want to just give information this morning. I want to hopefully inspire you with this story, with my story. I hopefully want to inspire you, encourage you, no matter where you're at, on your journey, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, whatever you're doing, there's a reason why you're here this morning. So I just want to, thank Innovate Pasadena for having me, number one. Sonia Lee, our COO, is in Canada, this morning, and she is the one that kind of got me into this. So I want to thank her for giving me the opportunity. Of course, Cross Campus, thank you for this amazing space. I love glorified cafes, especially when they're filled with awesome people. So without further ado, I want to introduce, this is Conrad. This is our number one dude, first dude ever to join the team. Before Conrad came along, it was just me as the dude. And so I want to just share a little bit about the story. This is one of our mascots, Monster. Everyone wants to say hi, Monster. So a dude in a truck walked into a bar. Or was it a garage in a truck? I don't know. You have to ask that question for yourself. I was 10 years, I don't know if we have any wine bibbers in here or wine drinkers, but I was 10 years in the wine business. And it was one of those things I never thought I'd ever be doing, but I spent about 10 years slanging, hustling wine all over California. And as I was hustling wine and growing a family, I have 2 beautiful daughters here in Victoria, 5 and 8, 5 and 9 actually. And I've been married 11 years to my high school sweetheart, Lisette. So she kicked me out of bed this morning. Get down to Pasadena. She's my human alarm clock. So, again, I kind of one of the things that I am a firm believer in is you kind of stumble into destiny. Sometimes you can't plan for it. I didn't, plan to meet my wife when she was in high school, but I stumbled into destiny. I was in the right time and I was in the right place, thankfully. And so with Dude, I kind of feel that way. I was looking, again, to provide for my family. I was, trying to make ends meet in one of the most expensive cities in the world, Santa Barbara, California, where I grew up. The cost of living has never gone down; it just keeps going up. So, I need a diaper and a milk budget, right? I got to pay for diapers and milk now. So I had this. My wife thought it was a midlife crisis, but I said I really need to buy a truck, and she's just like, "Why are you obsessing on the truck and buying a truck?" And I don't know, maybe it's a guy thing. I just turned 30. I need a truck. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, but I needed a truck. So I went and I bought this truck in this old funky car lot in Goleta, and I'm driving the truck around, and all of a sudden I just get this idea, man, like, dude, I could just throw my truck on Craigslist and just I could start maybe using my truck to help people. I don't know. I mean, I'll see what happens. And I throw the ad on Craigslist, and I just say, this is kind of a cool name, dude, I need a truck. Who doesn't need a truck, right? I think everybody on this planet needs a truck at some point in their life, and a dude to help them. So, lo and behold, within like a few hours, I get my first. I'll never forget. I get my first interest. I get my first response, and it was moving like a cabinet for some lady in Santa Barbara. And I remember she wrote me my first check. It was like $35, and I took a picture of it, and I said, "I'm in business. I've got a company." And from there, as I began to do this and doing hundreds of these, being like kind of like I always describe it as kind of like being Superman. You jump from my my suit, and I'm at these 5-star exaggerated restaurants, and I'm with the Psalms, and I'm doing the whole pitch of the winery that I work for, and we've got 10 wines laid out, and I'm tasting, and then I get a text message. Oh, and then I jump in my truck, I change real quick, I throw on my tank top, I've got my my tattoos are showing just so I can I'm strong, I can do this. And all of a sudden, I'm out there, and I'm like in there, and the best thing was that I'd have the wine, and I have these extra samples, so after I do the move, I'd say, hey, I've got this wine. I don't know if you guys like wine, and so it was a pretty big selling point, One of our first investors, actually, who I helped move, really smart guy in Santa Barbara, because you're only smart people invest in good. So, don't worry, I'm not going to throw my pitch deck up here, but anyways, he's like, are you kidding me? He goes, we're wine club members of this winery. You're helping us move. We've got wine. He's like, where do I sign up? So as things progressed, I started to have the revelation that being a human app wasn't the most effective. And this is as the share economy is beginning to come online, and Uber's becoming it wasn't quite a household name yet. It was starting to become this trend in the market, and people were it wasn't mainline yet. It was more kind of underground. Like if you were a cool CEO, you used Uber. Like my brother Jared, who's the other co-founder of Dude. And I would like to really quick. I do have just a quick introduction, because I do have one of our amazing team members here this morning, and Paul Benovich there in the back. If you want to raise your hand, Paul's back there. Paul, his moniker, we all have monikers at Dude, and his moniker is the rock star. He doesn't have a mullet or a guitar anymore, but he's head of our business development, and he's just killing it right now. So I'm just thankful that Paul's here. Everyone else kind of bailed on me. That's okay. You guys are here, so that's the most important thing. So I called my brother, who's been in technology, mobile technology, for the past 15 years. He has always pitched ideas. He's a successful entrepreneur himself. He's started 4 companies, and they're all in existence today. And he's always pitched ideas, and he called me one morning. He said, "This is my older brother, right? Older brothers aren't interested in their younger brothers, really." So when he called me and he said, "Hey, bro," he's like, "I think you're onto something here. Let's have a conversation." And the rest is history. We began to develop, the technology and the product through a long-term partnership that we've had with a team in Delhi. So I went from just me in my garage, my truck, and now I'm in Delhi, and I'm with the development team, and I'm on this big learning curve. I'm on this big learning curve journey where I'm like, what is an API? What the hell is like UX? Like, you're a UX designer? What? Okay, user. I got that, user experience. So, I'm like, again, I'm like a wine hustler, and I'm doing dude moves, and but the cool thing is that, right, it's not about what you know sometimes, it's a lot of times about who you know, and if you know the right people. So anyway, next slide. Say bye to Monster. I wanted to share a little bit of what I'm learning along the way. I was on the phone with one of the founders of Summit Series, or the founder of Summit Series, about 3 months ago. And it was one of those great VC calls where they're like, why the hell should I invest in you? You're this, and this. They're asking really good, hard questions. My brother was on the phone, and he asked me the big question, like why you? Like, what's your experience? Like, why why are you the CEO? Like, and it was a great question. And, one of my, I guess, one of the heroes I look to is the founder of Airbnb. I think he had his degree in music. I said, you know what, I don't have a degree. I said, I don't have, years of this group, building companies and having massive exits. But I said, I know what I'm passionate about. And so far, with what we've done, with the resources we've had and the team we put together, I said, I feel like that is something worth looking at. And I said, I know that I'm not, again, like this, ninja warrior entrepreneur. But so far, we've got an incredible team of seasoned people behind this vision. And all I can do is continue to share the vision. All I can do is continue to provide amazing, user experience, customer service, do what I know how to do. But I'm also on this learning curve, and it's humbling because, one of the things that I'm learning is it's not about me. And you know what? I don't actually have to be necessarily, to me, the CEO, that's great. That's a title. I don't have to be the guy. I'm always going to be the dude, but I don't have to be the guy. Never forget that. So it's about building a successful company that has value. And that's what I'm learning. It's not about me. My wife reminds me of this all the time. To me, it's about really these four things. It's about your team. It's about the vision you live and breathe and eat and sleep. It's about the problem you're solving and the people you're helping. One of my favorite things to do is to still jump in the truck. It's kind of like Undercover Boss. I pulled up to this dude's house the other day, and he started asking all these questions, and after about 20 minutes of helping him, he goes, oh yeah, so how'd you hear about Dude? How'd you get involved? And I was like, well, I'm the founder and the CEO, and he's like, is this being filmed right now? I was like, yeah, you're on Undercover Boss. It's like, but it's about the people. When you solve a pain point for somebody, when you show up, they're stressed out. We know the pain. Everybody hates having to pick that couch up on Craigslist that you bought or at Costco and having to move from A to B. How do I do it? What does it cost? Am I going to find a sketchy dude on Craigslist? Who's not background checked? I don't know who he is. Is he reliable or not? So it's an amazing experience when you show up and you solve someone's problem. And to me, you can never go wrong if you solve someone's pain point, someone's problem. And I think every single person on this planet, again, every single person I talk to has always been in that exact position. How do I do this? How do I get this item simply, affordably move from point A to point B? I don't want to Uber to U-Haul. I don't want to, pay all the hidden fees at U-Haul. I don't want to go through the hassle. It's not worth my time. And so everybody, I don't know if there's, maybe someone is not from this planet, but most people I know, every single person from my grandparents to my own daughters, they love getting on the app and playing around with it, and they get it, but they also love, or they also understand, the need for this. So one of the things that that's our team right there. One of the things that I especially love about what we're doing is that, this is my first startup, and I was kind of blown away when we did our launch party. My grandpa was sitting there, and my grandpa. My great-grandparents came from the Ukraine, and they were fleeing persecution, and so they ended up here. They started this product on their stove called Tree Wax. It was like a home product, and it was a startup. They started it from their house with nothing. And my grandpa went door to door in LA, all over the country, literally knocking when salesmen used to come to your door before Facebook and before Google Ads. They would be the Google ad. They would show up at your door. Here's the product, and it was more of a trusting world, right? So you'd come into the house and demonstrate the product. So my grandpa did that. He's still alive. He's 87 years old. And I'm sitting there as we're launching our product, and I look over at my grandpa, and I start getting, real emotional. Because I'm like, man, we're doing the same thing in this day and age with technology. I started this in my garage, in a sense on like my home stove. And here's my grandpa who did this. And it was just kind of this amazing, connection to my own legacy, that there's an entrepreneur legacy in my family, and it's in our blood. But, again, it was probably really messy. Like they probably were, on the stove cooking this stuff, trying to figure out the ingredients. Crap was getting everywhere. My great grandma was probably like, get this crap out of my house. It smells, it stinks, And so, for us, another thing that I've learned is that you're never going to have your ducks in a row, ever. You'll never do anything if you're always waiting for those ducks to be in a row and lined up. And ducks, yeah, they do quack. There's times where people on your team are like, you know what you're doing? Like, are you a complete idiot? Like, what do you, and you're like, you're getting quacked at, And then you get a call from a customer, and they're like, dude, your dude's mattress, like the mattress I had in your dude's truck, like it's not there anymore. Like, what happened to it? Like, did it get abducted? Like, what's going on here? So there's just you're constantly being quacked at. Sometimes it's good quacks. Sometimes it's bad quacks. You're always quacking. But it's learning that every day, and this brings me to this slide, some days just suck. And some days don't. And the days that suck, I'm learning that you'll get through those days, and you'll have better days, and then you'll have another sucky day. But there's lots of emotions throughout the day. And there's times where I'm like, is this gonna work? And there's days like I'm like, dude, this is working so good that of course it's gonna work. And you're encouraged and you're motivated. There's other days you're like, man, this is hard. How am I gonna do this? So bootstrapping. Anybody here have a good pair of boots? All right, I got a cowboy over here. You got to get your boots dirty. Boots we're always made for walking in rough terrain. One of the biggest things for us as right now we're in basically friends and family. We're raising from friends and family. So one of the biggest things is always of course watching your costs and how am I going to afford this and how am I going to pay this person. One great tip is always pay the attorney last. Sorry, if there's any attorneys in there. I feel bad, our attorney is like, here's my invoice. Cool, man, thanks. Appreciate that. We'll get to that. Always these costs, right? You're taking money from friends and family, so it's like, do I really need this $40 steak, or should I buy this $10 Chick-fil-A chicken steak? And you're always trying to manage these costs in your head. You're always trying to manage these costs throughout, as you're looking at your budget. I would say, always go strong on technology. One of the things for us that was key was we began to design our UX in India, and that was a mistake. And we realized, and I was really thankful we had an introduction to our COO now, Sonia Lee, who some of you know, who's a rock star UX designer. And we had to take a step back, and it cost us some money. But we said, if we're going to do this, let's do it right. Let's design this right. We know that our team, in India is building an amazing technology, but the design's off. We love Bollywood, but we don't want our app to reflect, that color scheme, And so we were like, went with Sonia, had that introduction at the right time, and she really helped us design, I think, an amazing user experience product. Again, that anyone from a 7-year-old, my daughter, could get on and use and figure out to my 70-year-old, aunt that she could figure it out. So, in the process for us, I would say one of the most important things has just been, managing, and where what's the most important thing right now? Here's our, we have this amount of money. What's the most important thing? What's going to get us the farthest along with this amount? We can't count on what's in the bank tomorrow or in a month or in 2 months. We have to work with what we got today and making those, those dollars stretch. So goes into my favorite mouse here with fundraising is, it's hard to ask. And it's hard to ask because when you ask somebody, you're basically saying you have something that I don't have. So you have to humble yourself. Because you're saying there's something about you have resource, time, talent, treasure that I don't have. And I'm asking you, would you help me? I'm asking you, would you be, would you invest, whatever it is, time, talent, and treasure. And that's really difficult. I think, especially in our culture, we're so independent, it's really hard to do that. And we feel bad, and we keep apologizing for asking. But you know what? You just ask until someone says no, and then you don't take no for an answer, as my mom taught me. No is not, I said no is the new yes. If someone tells me no, just reverse it on them. It's the opposite. Just say it's opposite day. And come back at them, investors like to see persistence and that you're not going to give up on them, even if you're annoying and stalking them at 3 in the morning on Twitter. All right? There's lots of risk, and I love this quote from one of my heroes. Another way to spell faith is risk, R-I-S-K. And this is something that, it's just there's no way around it. There's just no way around this component to that I've experienced to growing this business. We're in Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, Orange County. We're launching in Austin, Texas, September 1st. If anybody out there is from Texas, please check us out. Actually, nobody has really that accent in Austin. Mostly California people. But we're launching in Austin. We're launching in Sacramento, probably October 1st. So as we roll out into these cities, there's obviously lots of risk involved, and it's scary. And you just have to have faith in the people that you're working with. You have to have faith in your team. You have to have faith in your product. And when there's bugs happening, and you want to just literally throw the app into the ocean, in the Pacific Ocean, and call it a day because you're dealing with bugs, and you're like, why the hell is this password not working? Why? And you're dealing with this. You still have to have faith in what you're doing in your product, and faith that it's going to work. And if it doesn't work, you're going to make it work, and you're going to figure it out. I don't know where we're at for time. I know I can be a little long-winded, so about 3 minutes, okay. You can see, why wouldn't you want to invest in these guys? I mean, come on. I mean, it's like, look how this is an amazing team right here. Anyways. So this is just a little bit. This is some other team members, some UX interns that work with us. This is one of our other dudes in Santa Barbara. Craig, everyone knows Sonia there. Excuse me. I'll finish up with our core values. We basically, so we built our technology. It was data driven and based. So it wasn't like we built this product and then we're like, oh, how does this work on the ground? I mean, it was kind of like I was the R&D experiment, the human app, for about 1.5 years. And so we took probably 300 to 400 of these micro moves that we do, because we're not movers, we do micro moves. Whatever can fit into a pickup truck, that's our model right now. We'll see where that goes, but right now it's one dude, one truck, picking up those items. And so we basically said we want to stay to a certain radius, so we're not going to go beyond 25 miles. And this helps us manage our pricing model as well, and managing time. So we go the extra mile though. So we will always go the extra mile. This is a core value we live out. Obviously these are self-explanatory. Live every day as your first impression. These are all core values too that line up with the dudes that we interview and that we onboard. We could have the best technology in the world, but if we don't have the on-the-ground brand of our dudes that are representing the brand and living these core values, it doesn't mean anything. So you can have the best technology in the world, but if you don't have the on-the-ground human technology, the human personality, that human personal touch, it only goes so far. So we're basically trying to be like, Transformers. If anyone here loves Transformers. A dude's like a transformer. A dude is the truck, and a truck is the dude. And we're trying to bring that they're both in the same. And we'll see how that goes with our branding. But we all have an entrepreneurial spirit. So even our dudes, we want them to be entrepreneurs. Some of our dudes have they use their truck as a food truck. Some of our dudes use their truck, they're tradesmen. They have their own, business on the side, doing a specific trade. So we want to encourage that. We want to, continue to foster that within our culture. Obviously, ensuring safety is a really important one too. When you're, moving things and you're in people's homes, we want to make sure that there's a huge emphasis on safety. So I want to thank you guys. I love answering questions, so I know I can kind of swirl out sometimes and go down different rabbit holes. So there's probably so much more that I'd love to share with you, but if you have questions, I know we're going to have a question and answer time, so I guess we'll do that now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jacob. It's a very inspiring story, and I personally resonate with this because I'm working with my own app, and for the longest time, I was the app. And developing products that serve people's needs and solve their pain points based on your own experience in the field is a great way to start a company. So kudos to you, and it sounds like Bootstrapping is working really well. We're going to open up to Q&A now. John will walk around with the mic. If you have a question, raise your hand. Comments offline. Jacob will be hanging out for a little bit, and also Paul as well in the back. He'll come up to the front. If you guys want to share stories or things of that nature, please do offline questions now. Again, raise your hand, and John will walk around and get it and support you.
Hi. It seems the dude with a truck is a pretty stereotyped thing. You think kind of rednecks and bubbas and stuff like that. First, my main question is, do you have any women dudes?
Great question, dudettes. Yeah, we don't yet. We've had a few apply, but they're out of our service area. So we've had one apply in Vegas, maybe one in San Bernardino, but we're open to having dudettes for sure. Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah.
Hi, I wanted to ask, when you were speaking with VCs, what did you come away with in terms of the goals you need to reach in order to obtain funding?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think, obviously, team and tractions are huge. Showing team and your traction, your growth, having that month-over-month trending growth is huge. Right now, I think the greatest feedback that we took away is, and one of our goals is we want to get to that $50,000 a month revenue, generating revenue, and then approach VCs and approach go into more of that higher level Series A funding cycle, and so we're on our way there, and I think that's really critical. I think those are those are the two biggest things that I think VCs are after. Obviously, the climate of the market right now, that's more important than ever right now. Those two things.
Any questions? Actually, I have a question. I know that Uber has also looked into getting into the logistics business, which is basically what you're doing. So how do you address competition, and especially with your, when you talk to investors?
They already offered to buy us. I'm just kidding. That's a great question. We don't. From what we know and from the conversations we've had with people within the organization, they're not going to go in that direction. We know they've done some testing, I think, in Asia. I think it was in Hong Kong with Uber delivery with larger items. But we don't think they're getting into that space right now, just based on the intel we have from people we know within the organization. Does that answer your question, or there's other, in terms of, there's other competitors out there. That's a whole other conversation, but ways we differentiate ourselves. But
Well, maybe you'd like to talk about that, how you
Sure.
differentiate yourself.
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is, there's all these different pricing models and ways people are pricing their services. And I think with us, based on the data we have and the algorithms we've created, is that we can show people within a 2-hour window what the cost will be. And so it's pretty cool to be able to say, hey, if you're going 5 miles and you have these items, this is the cost. And there's no guessing, there's no, the onus is on the dude to work hard and efficient rather than the other way around of, hey, this is kind of an hourly thing, and I'm gonna take my time because I'm on the clock and I can just kind of run up the bill. So I think that's one of the big advantages we have right now, and that we're perfecting too. So
This may be a little bit of a strange way of putting the question, but you said that your big measures of success are growing revenue stream and the quality of the team that you're building. What would you say from a VC perspective is the thing that would disqualify you, or what is a potential investor said, we're not going to touch you because blah, that is a big surprise to you?
That's the $1 million question, or not the $1 million question. That's a great question. So some of the feedback we've gotten, which is totally, it's kind of something we already know, but we're very remote right now, our team. I mean, we're thankful to platforms like Slack and lots of other Uber Conference and other platforms. It's so much easier to connect now remotely, but we have a team that's more remote, and so we're kind of in that in-between place of we all want to be under the same roof. We're Santa Barbara, LA, I mean, we're Austin, we're Sacramento, so it's like there's some advantages to that, but there's also some disadvantages to that. Like one of our advisors, is not an official advisor, but from Summit Series was like, hey dude, just get all under the same roof, and get some employees. Right now everybody is pretty much working for sweat equity, into the business. So that's a big one for us, and we're kind of, again, waiting on, there's a timing aspect to that, which we're getting there, but that's definitely a concern. It's like, you guys get under the same roof,
So I have a two-part question. The first is, I have a really big, ugly TV, so that needs to get out of my house. Do you have dudes in Pasadena?
We do. Yeah,
Okay.
we do. We have a couple,
Okay.
so yeah.
So the second question is, how are you guys defining or determining which new markets you're going to? Because you're rolling out kind of market by market,
Yeah.
and I'm interested in pursuing a business that will do that, and I don't know how to choose where to go next. I'm curious how you guys are doing that.
Yeah, that's a great question. We really, it's kind of unique to us in a way, but it's just going where we have support, friends, family, and a current network on one level. Obviously, I have a friend who's in a random, city in Tennessee. So it's like, hey, dude, we love you, but we're not going to launch there yet. It doesn't make sense for us. But we have investors in Austin and in Sacramento who also are investing in the business as well. So we looked at that saying, well, we have a network there. We have an investor there, and we also have. There are two markets that are underserved, or there are two markets. One specifically that's kind of the hot, Silicon Valley of Texas. It's up and coming, a lot of millennials. So there's a demographic there that fits for us, and culturally as well. And then also similar to Sacramento's just growing like crazy right now. So it's kind of those two components. It's a good question.
Back here.
Yeah.
Hi, can you talk a little bit more about the process of friends and family, and I mean, did you send them a pitch deck and a formal agreement and some type of?
We just made them, do a blood oath, shed blood. No, we have three decks. One's VC focused, one's friends and family, and then we have one more, maybe for children or something. So we just tailor them specifically to that. Paul has been an amazing asset to us in helping us think through that. So if you want to dive deeper into that, I'm singling him out as a resource to help kind of think through that if that's something you're doing right now. He's great. He's really been an incredible help to us in that area.
Over here.
Yeah, how did you come to hiring a foreign dev team? if they're still involved, do they do updates?
Yeah.
And what was your experience working with them? Would you recommend it?
Yeah. Yes, I would. I think the advantage we had was my brother, who again has had a technology company for 15 years now. He's had a long-term relationship with this specific development team, and they're not shoddy. I mean, this is like they're a serious house in Delhi, and just I think because of that relationship, it was a no-brainer for us because we knew the value we were getting. But yes, it still has challenges. It's still, obviously the time thing is a challenge, but I think also culturally sometimes, there'll be things that they'll put into the app, or even ways things are, can even be worded or misworded, or even the user experience that I think you just always have to over communicate and just be as clear as possible and find the right house. My brother, he lost a lot of money going with the wrong developer before he found this one in China that didn't work out, and it was very costly. So I would say for sure, and obviously there's lots of other, it's a long-winded answer because there's a lot in there, but hopefully that answers part of your question.
Over here.
If you're looking for someone, let me know. Okay.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. It was a great
you're welcome.
presentation.
Thank you.
So are you going the route of the dudes and eventually dudettes are your employees, independent contractors, or are you franchising?
Yeah, great question. All three, actually. We have a model that incorporates all three. Franchise we're kind of working on still, but we actually just got off a call with some legal yesterday, and it was very interesting to understand more of the differences. I mean, you kind of know generally, but it really is a gray area in a lot of ways, especially the system's very archaic, employee independent contractor, and so hopefully there's some lobbying and things that are happening that are changing that, because the economy's changed, the share economy's grown so much, and so the way people work has changed so much. So we're kind of in that kind of gray area, but yes to all three. So.
Any more questions? I've got another question. And I don't know if we all need to sign an NDA for this or not, but you said that you are raising capital.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, you have a pitch deck,
Yeah.
how much you're looking to raise and how that's going to be spent or what that's going to be spent for?
Yeah.
When you scale in.
So we're raising 30 million. No, I'm just kidding. 30 million, friends and family. We have some rich. Warren Buffett's our uncle. We are right now. We have a convertible note set up to raise up to 500,000 with this friends and family round. I think right now we've raised about 150 to 180 in there. We also have a pretty strong commitment from our development team is going to invest, the CEO of that company, and dude, to fund a development team for us as we go on these next development sprints, which is pretty rad. It's the first time we've ever done that. But that amount, and then what was the other?
How that's going to be used, or what?
How's that going to be used? Yeah. I'm going to have a great vacation down the top of San Lucas. I'm just kidding. I'm going to buy more of my remote control trucks, actually. These have kind of become a little fetish of mine. I think three things we're going to, number one is our first hires, full-time hires. Number two is our technology. We're going to also have to fund part of that team, even though we're getting an investment into that team for what we want to do. And then I think number three is just specifically on our ad spend and our marketing campaigns. But I'd say those three things. We've got some amazing high-level people on our team right now that are working for a mix of both and also working for equity. We want to obviously bring a few more people onto that team and then make sure our own team gets taken care of for this next race around the track. So.
Thank you so much, guys, for the questions. Appreciate it.